Hey guys, I'm sure all of you have seen endless DJI Nano videos, and I'm not here to tell you all of the specs about it and all the details you've already heard. Today, I want to talk about something else, which nobody else seems to be talking about, and that is that this is the ultimate minimalist vlogging setup, at least for me, and let me tell you why. So, here it is. And as you can see, this thing is not even the size of my hand, even with a tripod. Of course, I can fold out the tripod and put it somewhere if I want. And if all of that fails, I can use the magnet to get a shot as well. But this alone is a really great vlogging setup, because when I've used it in public, to be completely honest, it seems like people don't even notice that I have something in my hand. As you can see, when I'm vlogging with this thing, it kind of just looks like my hand's actually just out. So, I mean, this thing really barely takes up any space in your hand. And the way I achieved this is I got a attachment on Amazon. That would be this one right here. This is a K&F Concept DJI to 1/4 inch thread, and there's also a flip out thing so you can connect it to GoPro attachments as well. Now I connect that one, I connect this one to my camera, and it's really not the most satisfying connector. It's kind of a pain in the butt, I'm not gonna lie, but once it gets on, so it's connected well. What I did was I took my DJI tripod from my Osmo Pocket 3 and I just put it on there, and from the days when I was using my Sony FDR-X3000, I actually have some leftover wind covers, some dead cat mic covers, and basically they're like these little dead cats that are they're built to go over something about this size, this little microphone here, and they have adhesive all around it. So basically it adheres on the outside of that microphone, and that reduces the wind. Then you turn noise reduction off in the settings, and the sound you get out of here is actually surprisingly good. Another thing I haven't heard people talk about, which is surprising to me, is the internal microphones. And it's kind of strange because there's actually a fiasco that happened with the Insta360 Go Ultra, where the Go Ultra initially advertised that it was a stereo microphone, but in fact it is definitely not a stereo microphone. It's actually a mono microphone. There's only one microphone in the Insta360 Go Ultra. But what I like about this DJI Osmo Nano is that it is semi-transparent, and because of that, you can see that that is actually a microphone module right there, so you know for a fact that is a microphone. And then if you go over here, according to DJI's website, the other microphone is right here. And if you look at the semi-transparent material with the right light, you'll see another microphone module there. So the stereo audio is going to be one from here and one from there. Now I've thought about putting a dead cat on both of them, but I don't know. But that's what I plan on doing. I plan on putting a dead cat microphone right here. Now you might be saying, well, I don't have a Osmo Pocket 3 and I don't have the included DJI tripod, and that's totally valid. But a couple years ago, I was looking for a little tripod for my Sony FDR, and I actually found one on Amazon, and this one is called Ulanzi. I'll look for it on my Amazon purchase history, and I'll put the link below if I can. But this one is certainly not bad either. I mean, This is only slightly longer, and actually I've considered changing to this one because it fits in my hand a little better. If you want to look at a height comparison, you know, this would be about half an inch longer. So I actually find this one a little more comfortable in my hand, I'm not gonna lie. That being said, I'm not the type of person who always wants to set up a DJI microphone. Now, the type of vlogs that I want to do are like travel vlogs, similar to somebody like Seal on Tour, or anybody that just takes a action camera and or Small Brained American, you know, anybody that just takes an action camera and gets out and shoots. So that's why I'm so fixated on the internal microphones. I think more cameras should have a internal microphone that is really good in stereo audio, and I don't know why that's not a thing, because there's been a big push towards wireless microphones. All that being said, what are you going to do about battery life and overheating? Well, I'd say after the firmware updates with the DJI Osmo Nano, the overheating has subsided somewhat. It went from about maybe after 30 minutes overheating at 4K 60 to sometimes an hour and 30, and sometimes an hour and 40, and sometimes just an hour. So it's kind of all over the place, but it's definitely improved. Now, am I going to be recording 4K 60 for so long? No, I'm not. That's not the quality I feel like I need. At most, maybe I'll do 2.7K at 60 frames per second for a vlog. And if I'm trying to shoot a nice video, maybe I would bump it up to 4K 60. But as for a long vlog where I might be shooting at 30 minutes at a time, I don't see why I would do 4K. That being said, what do you do about battery now? Battery's not the best. It's not gonna last the longest, especially compared to your Osmo Action 5 Pro. My solution to that is, if I use a tech product, I need to do it extremely lazily. I will never use a product if it's not convenient enough. In fact, that's why I'm currently selling my DJI Osmo Pocket 3, because it simply wasn't convenient enough for me to use all the time. And that's a sad reality of my life, is that I'm you know, usually bound by my own laziness. But the thing with the Osmo Pocket Nano is that I immediately knew that I like this camera because it's extremely convenient to use. I mean, even the fact that you don't even need an SD card, and that you can just start shooting right out the box onto the internal memory, and if you really wanted, you could just not have the SD card at all, and you could just go off of your USB-C. Well, that's really nice. You could just put your USB-C, connect your USB-C from your camera to your computer, and import all your footage like that. My solution for battery is the lazy way, like I said. So basically, I looked and I found a power bank that is about a small size, that's something I could carry in my pocket if I am ever traveling and out and about. And basically, it has a flip out wall socket prongs, wall outlet prongs. And basically, I can plug it into a outlet, or if I'm traveling, maybe a converter, and I simply plug it into a wall outlet. It charges overnight, and then I take it out and I take it with me. And it also has a retractable USB-C cable, and that makes it so that I don't need to carry an additional cable. And so all of this, in my opinion, is pretty minimalist. Like, I just plug it into the wall, and when I wake up, I take it out, put it in my pocket. I don't need to carry extra cables. It retracts neatly, and it kind of just makes sense to me. There's two parts to my camera. There's the battery, and there's, you know, the actual camera itself. When I'm using it like this, my plan is to charge this part right in my pocket, and, you know, I'll plug it into my battery and I'll charge it. And I think all of this like really makes a minimalist vlogging setup, and I'm surprised not more people are talking about this. But for me personally, I just really like the fact that nobody can really see that I'm vlogging that easily. And if I was in a dark room, first of all, you're still going to be able to get the low light, so you don't have to think about carrying a light or something. That's another kind of minimalist feature. And another thing is that if I was in a kind of dark room, less people would probably even see my camera. If I put on my pendant attachment and I just put it here on my chest, people probably wouldn't even really see my camera. And I think that creates a vlog that's more realistic because people aren't acting differently around your camera. That being said, I also love the color of this thing. When I look at it on the display, it looks amazing. And this is one of the few products that I've ever really liked right off the bat. Usually I hate a product at first and then I either continue to hate it for the rest of my life or I slowly like it. But this is one of the few products that I've gotten that I immediately liked off the bat, and I immediately wanted to sell my DJI Osmo Pocket 3 because the footage is close enough for me and I have more control over the shots that I get. And for me as a filmmaker, I personally don't like being forced to use a gimbal every time. I like the natural feeling of using your hands to get the shot. And if you treat this camera like a high quality, real camera, like it kind of is, then you'll get some amazing footage out of here. And I think we've all seen some of that footage. The other part that makes this camera minimalistic is the fact that if I want to, I can use Wi-Fi 6 to transfer files to my iPhone directly with the app. And that way I don't need to use a SD card to Lightning or a USB-C adapter like I used to with my Sony FDR X3000. Now I will admit, I don't think the audio is as perfect as the Sony FDR X3000, but that being said, I've seen a lot of YouTubers that travel and make travel vlogs, and they use the internal audio of an Action 4 or an Action 5. One example is Small Brained American. He actually confirmed on his Reddit forum that he does use the internal audio of the Action 4. And the thing is, most people don't care if what you're doing is interesting enough. Let's say you're on a train and you're going somewhere and you need to just post a couple clips of something you captured that day. You can just quickly edit it and quickly transfer it to your phone and upload it right from there. And I find that extremely convenient. And the other thing I like I said, is you can just transfer it, whether or not you have an SD card, straight from USB-C to your laptop. You also get this little thing. And if you're in video production, or you've ever been in video production, you would know that there's an AC, also known as the guy who pulls the focus. And the thing about the AC is the AC usually has a external monitor that's like wireless. And that technology usually costs about, like for the low latency ones, like probably at least $1,200. So to have your own little monitor, especially with a magnetic backed camera, just like an AC, is honestly pretty incredible if you think about it. You have a remote monitor that you don't have to do any setup for. And on top of that, you can, the mic does connect right to this camera too. So if you wanted to do an interview, you almost have a microscopic little camera crew in a way, and all without all of the painstaking effort that filmmaking used to entail. And I just think that's really cool. You have your own little monitor, you can control your camera from your phone, put this anywhere. You don't even really need to bring a tripod. You just find something metallic. And on top of that, you can even connect a DJI Mic 2 or 3, multiple, to do some interviews. Overall, I think this thing is a minimalist powerhouse. It is the most power for a camera you will find in a small form factor, period. As of, October 2025, this is the most power you will ever get out of a camera this size. And the benefit of that is that you can probably capture some things that people have never really captured before, insofar as you're not making a scene with a huge camera. Also, the magnetic functionality of this will also give you some really cool shots, as well as the size and the cross-section of size and quality. That being said, I'm gonna put links to all of the products that I have in my little lineup for my vlogging setup. And if you're wondering why I've never promoted a product before, it's because I never liked a product enough to promote it. But you know what? I have to say I like this one. I bought this myself. I wasn't sent this by DJI. There's no partnership. I just bought this myself. But I do recommend it. So I'll give you guys the links to all those. Make an affiliate, percentage from the links for full disclosure. But that being said, I do simply like the camera. So yeah, Now I finally said everything. Thank you guys for watching, and have a great fall.